So hello guys, and welcome to another video, and in that last Direct, we had an insane announcement that we all wanted, but we didn't expect to happen in quite a while. And that is a brand new Mario and Luigi game. Like, how is this even real? How are we even, like, living in this timeline right now? Like, the fact that we get 3 Directs all with in a row, all with Mario RPGs. It's just kind of crazy to think about, but today I will be doing a discussion about it, kind of more like of an in-depth discussion than the last one that I did, but Super Mario T and Lizardy will be joining me. We're all massive Mario RPG fans, so I think it's kind of fun to kind of talk about this and talk about like how interesting and amazing this announcement was.
This series is my life. Like,
life
literally.
just got just a little bit better now. You're at the ceiling.
It's like that one.
God is real.
It's like that one Arlo thumbnail. Life is worth living.
Yeah.
But
God is real.
yeah,
God is
it's
good.
this was just like crazy that like we all wanted Mario and Luigi to return, but we didn't expect it to return on this grand of a scale, like with a brand new game in 3D. It just looks incredible. The most that I was expecting for Mario and Luigi was either like a remake of Partners in Time or Dream Team. Like nothing really that huge, like something that we'd kind of expect to see. I mean, sure, it would have been really exciting to see those like kind of return, but it wouldn't have been on the level of what we're seeing here. So that's kind of what makes it even more surprising. It's kind of a similar thing to like when Thousand Year Door, the remake was announced. That was also crazy as well. All I was expecting for that game was just a simple port, but we got a full remake for that. I feel like it's kind of a similar situation here with Brothership, but like on a whole other level, because this is like a brand new game, and it just looks like amazing.
It's actually stunning. Like, this is the best case scenario, like, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really...
Sorry.
I'll let you go ahead.
Okay. They adapted Mario and Luigi's art style so well, and it's in 3D on an HD console. Like, I don't know if we ever really expected Mario and Luigi to make a jump to HD consoles. Even if we did, it probably would have been forever if they still kept going with their handheld line. Thank God they just combined it. So yeah, no, this pretty much is best case scenario, like Lizardy said.
Yeah, and with this art style in general, it really seems to be picking up where they left off from the 3DS era. Like, it really doesn't seem like they're kind of like reinventing anything or just like kind of like going like too far away from what we expect. Like, it doesn't look like weird or like too different from Mario and Luigi. It looks exactly what we'd expect it to, and it looks just amazing. I am so glad that like it's kind of looking to be like what we've been wanting for like a 3D HD Mario and Luigi game.
It's literally as if Alpha Dream never died.
Yeah,
Literally.
It still has that energy there, like with the animations, like there's squash and stretch, and it just looks like really nice. It kind of like builds off of like what we've seen with other like recent Mario games, like Mario Wonder and Luigi's Mansion 3, and then even like a little bit of influence from the movie, like since the movie had like very expressive character animation, since of course it was a movie, a different like medium. I feel like that actually kind of like inspired like a lot of other Mario games to be like more like expressive and have more interesting animations. And I feel like this is partially like a result of that, like seeing like all of the like really expressive animations here.
I do think it was kind of a domino effect, because you could kind of argue it happened before that with Odyssey, preferably Mario plus Rabbids, even though that's more Ubisoft's own like work. But definitely, like after the Mario movie, I would say that caused some type of domino effect, because like like Mario Wonder was very stylized and it had more expressions and detail to it. Maybe the development of the movie was like you had some like work on that, and some people working on some of the Mario games back in Nintendo, maybe they saw some of it. It's hard to say because it is tough to say like really how much it was a domino effect because we aren't developers, we don't work there. But there's still Wonder, there's still Peach Showtime. There's even Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which they touched up a lot of animations on both those two characters in this old-ass Game Boy game. And of course, Thousand Year Door and all the tiny little extra animations they added to all the new characters, plus Mario. And now this new Mario and Luigi game, too. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah. It's just hard to wrap my head around the fact that we're saying the sentence, the new Mario and Luigi game. Like, that is just, like, just that alone, like, looking back on that and just, like, just saying that is just kind of insane. Like, if I told you, like, a couple weeks ago that there was gonna be a new Mario and Luigi game coming to the Switch, like, even if I was, like a really credible leaker, all of you would have thought I was insane. It's just, it was that unlikely that Mario and Luigi was going to return at this point in time.
There actually was... Sorry, there actually was a smaller leaker. I think they were Spanish or something, so they weren't really as popular, like, with, like, people like us, but I noticed them, and they said, oh, there's gonna be something new, Mario and Luigi, and I'm like, there's no way this guy is right, and I'm so shocked he was actually right.
Yeah.
And even, he could have been completely guessing, and I still believe he was, because I looked back, and he is the same guy who predicted that Cyberpunk would be coming to Nintendo Switch, which would be impossible.
Yeah, was this the one that had, like, the Dream Team merch that was, like, on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, like...
I'm so shocked.
I was, like, guessing for that. I was like, oh, if that's true, then we'll get, like, a Dream Team remake or something. Like, I guess that's, like, all we're gonna get. That's really all I was expecting. I was either expecting, like a remake or something, not, like, a brand new game.
Exactly.
All of this obviously applies to Thousand Year Door, the remake, too. There's a credible eco saying, oh, expect a game thousands have been asking for, even if, I don't think any of us was expecting Thousand Year Door to get remade, and now this new Mario and Luigi game. Plus, like, if we're talking just, like, the names of these, pretty much every major game in the last Direct sounds like a fake-ass, like, fake leak. It's like, oh, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Like,
a Zelda game where you play as Zelda.
Yeah.
Echoes of Wisdom sounds really basic for a Zelda title. And then lo and behold, that's what Nintendo thought of. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we're rolling with this.
Yeah, it seems
because of that, it still feels like I'm still dreaming, which is why I still have not processed this really. It's been very difficult for me.
Yeah, like, all of these announcements in this Direct, like, especially this one, kind of felt like a 4chan leak. Kind of just, like, listing out all the titles. It really felt like that. But it's actually real. Like, all of these announcements were actually, like, real things. And it's just like you said, it's just so hard to process. Especially Mario and Luigi here. It's, like, but...
It's insane.
Thinking about it, too, technically, because back-to-back straight announcement from Mario RPGs, almost an entire year ago when we're recording this, I'm assuming this is going up on the 21st. 1 year ago, Mario RPG remake got announced. 3 months later, Thousand Year Door remake dropped. But 6 months after RPG was announced, that dropped. 6 months after that, Thousand Year Door dropped. And now you know about this Mario RPG game, which is going to drop 6 months after Thousand Year Door's remake, which RPG, Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi, that's been the order of the Mario RPGs we've been getting. So they announced that in, like, the actual, like, sub-franchises order, too, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting to think about, too. Like, it's almost like, I want to get into this, like, towards the end of the video, where we'll kind of discuss more on how Nintendo's, like, strategically handling the Mario RPGs, but this almost feels intentional. Like, they wanted people to play, like, RPG first, then Paper Mario, then Mario and Luigi. That's just an interesting thing to think about. I like just kind of bringing it up there. But
it kind of makes me think if they're gonna make, like, more new titles, which at this point I think it's safe to expect they will. That at least for Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi, they'll probably just make it in this specific order. You get a Paper Mario, then a Mario and Luigi, and then rinse and repeat every 4-ish years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also looking at the game itself, like kind of how we were talking about how it looks like very faithful to the Mario and Luigi style and isn't like too much of a departure from what we'd expect. I really like the theming that's going on here with like the character designs and just like the NPCs and like whole overall theme of the game in general. Because it's kind of going for more of like an electricity and wire themes. Like you have the NPCs that look like electrical outlets. Then you also have like villains that look like different types of like cords and things. One thing that I kind of noticed when I was like analyzing the trailer is that like all of the villains in like the main villain characters are all like plugs and kind of things that plug in to like outlets and things. So I'm thinking that there's kind of like an interesting theming going on there, and I wonder if that's going to be important to the story.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then also one of the major characters here, Connie, kind of sounds like the word connection. So I'm wondering if that has like some pretty like some story importance here. So, and it's also like the title is Brothership, and I mean like aside from being a pun on like the hub area being like a ship island, I feel like it could also like possibly somewhat of this like story elements here could have to do with like Mario's connection to Luigi and possibly like some powers that they could have. Like at the beginning they showed like the their hands having abilities kind of like Superstar Saga. So I'm wondering if that will have some significance. There definitely seems to be some interesting theming here.
Yeah. Adding on to what you said, Snotlet, which seems to be like the new partner character, is also like an outlet, but without, if you get rid of the S in the end. And something tells me, this is just a wild like prediction for the story, I feel like Snotlet and like Connie are gonna like have to like combine because like you plug into each other and it's gonna like do some like crazy power or something. I feel like that would be pretty cool.
That did just remind me, because Connie like was like, okay, it was just the regular pot, but the holes you pour into it does kind of look like an electrical outlet too. Plus, like the hat she's wearing looks like a plug. The characters and some of the architecture throughout the trailer also look like outlets too. So yeah, connections, electricity, and like technology definitely is like a revolving theme. The new mini bosses kind of looked like aux cords, right? I thought they were ink pens in my discussion.
Yeah, there's
the top of his head looked like a little ink pen.
Yeah, there's one that looks like an aux cord, one that looks like a VGA connector, and then there's one I forgot what the other one kind of looks like. It's kind of like some of those like old like TV connectors. I forgot.
You're talking about this blue green like seafoam green bulky looking one?
Oh, that one is like the VGA connector. I was talking about the one on the right. That I'm not sure what.
Oh, yeah, I don't know that one.
And then also, one thing that I noticed, the villain, like the one that kind of looks like that Dementio and Tasma looking villain, it kind of looks like Jumper Cables a little bit.
Oh
yeah, coming down. Well, it looks like a mustache, but it kind of looks like a sword too, like a white bear stash turned into a blade.
I did notice about that villain's design. You could see like at the top of its hat, there's a little bit of red and green, which could mean something.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's just like there definitely seems to be like an interesting theme going on here. And another thing about the villains is that like the extension core, the ones that we were talking about, their eyes kind of look a lot like some of the like other older characters, either from like there were a couple of Bowser's Inside Story that had that design, but like also like in Dream Team, like Antasma has those like type of eyes, and they also
the Dark Star too.
The Dark Star, yeah, and they also kind of like their kind of like body types kind of aligns with like the best fitness friends. Like there's one flying one, there's one that's kind of tall and skinny, and then there's one that's like big and bulky. It's like it's kind of like a parallel to the best fitness friends, which I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I'm honestly fine with them doing that because not many people even like experienced the best fitness friends because the remake of Bowser's Inside Story sold so poorly.
Yeah,
that's me right now. I have no idea what the fitness friends are, so it's good that they're here.
Yeah, it's like I actually speculated in the past, like if they were gonna be like villains in like a Mario and Luigi game, like after Paper Jam, that like never actually happened, like never like kind of like just they just made the remakes instead. Like that was just like a scrapped idea with the best fitness friends. But like I feel like the extension core might be like a fully realized kind of version of what the best fitness friends were originally gonna be.
Yeah, their personalities were really fun. Especially, I forget their names, but the lanky one, he was really fun, and his interactions with like Ludwig and stuff.
There's Kaylee, Beef, and Dieter. I just looked them up. I'm
Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't know who these guys are. I didn't play the side mode. Play it.
I played through it twice, but I've forgotten their names. I did enjoy it.
I know
the gameplay. The gameplay was seen as repetitive, and I agree with that, but I think the writing made up for it a lot. It was really good in terms of the story, I feel like.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make like Bowser Jr.'s character more fleshed out?
Yeah, and also the Koopalings as well, I heard were written pretty well.
Okay.
And then there's
the interactions are good.
And then there's also like a lot of the enemies that we've seen so far look like enemies that we've seen before in the series. Like there's like one enemy that looks like a Thorb from Dream Team, and then there's one that looks like a Treeville, but it's like made out of like scrap metal, kind of like going along with the theming and everything. So I think that's pretty interesting. Like it kind of seems like they're doing like a kind of making this consistent with the older games, kind of like how they did like in the past. Like they actually, like in the past, they had a lot of like returning enemies and like different variations of enemies, like whether that be like shrewd, thoughtful, or dreamy versions of other enemies. So it kind of seems like they're doing like a similar thing here. They're having like kind of like either metal or like electric versions of like existing enemies.
Yeah,
I'd be down.
I'm glad they're bringing back some of Alpha Dream's designs too.
Yeah, they even brought back the little mini Shy Guy airships as well, like the Shy Guy air tubs. So it really seems like there's just like a lot of consistency here, and I really feel like there might be like some artists and character designers who were originally with Alpha Dream that are working on this.
Yeah, there has to be.
But
it would make a lot of sense.
And another
it's
thing,
so faithful.
Yeah, and another thing worth mentioning is like the battle system as well. Like a lot of the Bros attacks look really interesting here. Like they seem to be kind of like a lot of them seem to be similar to Superstar Saga's style of Bros attacks, but then we have like other more cinematic ones, like the like there's like the fiery red shell, which is it kind of seems like an evolution of like the red shell and the 3D red and green shell and everything. I think it's pretty cool. And I think we're probably going to get like a mixture of like Superstar Saga's style Bros attacks and like the newer style of Bros attacks. So I'm really looking forward to like what we'll see here with that.
Me too. I think they're gonna like buff the items, because like most Bros attacks in games after Superstar Saga were pretty much just glorified item attacks. So I wouldn't mind if we use like BP or SP, or I forget what it's called in those games, but it's they use the same amount of like the special like gauge or power you need for Bros attacks. But I'm glad like the Superstar Saga variant where the Mario Bros use their bodies to actually attack the opponents is coming back too.
Yeah. They in this game, like there are like a couple screenshots in like moments where we saw like the UI and everything, but like the Bros points BP is going to be returning as like the style of or basically how the Bros attacks are going to work. So it's going to be more like Superstar Saga and the Bowser's Inside Story, Dream Team, and Paper Jam than Partners in Time with the items. So I think that's good to know. So we'll see
Yeah.
kind of that returning there. But it just like it looks very faithful to like the other games and very consistent and everything, which I am just very happy about. And
Yeah, it's incredible how every Mario and Luigi is very consistent usually. Obviously, there's Paper Jam with its story and stuff, but in terms of like gameplay and that stuff, they're usually very consistent and it's all very good. Unlike Paper Mario, which is having like an identity crisis, but this is surprisingly still consistent even after such a big shakeup.
yeah.
Yes.
And another thing that I wanted to talk about was Kevin Afghani's voice acting, because I think it's pretty much confirmed that he'll be like voice acting for this, and also from what we've like heard from the trailer as well, that this is Kevin. And so far, I think he sounds pretty good, especially as Luigi. Like the Luigi voice clips sound great.
Yeah. I think he could do a bit of work with Mario, but Luigi he's already nailed, and I'm sure he'll get a lot better with more games too.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool that he actually has the opportunity to like voice act for a Mario and Luigi game like so early as like him starting out for Mario and Luigi. I feel like this is like the perfect chance for him to get used to the voices of Mario and Luigi. I think like this is like just with how expressive and like creative and interesting this game is going to be. I think it's like just really the perfect opportunity for him, like to kind of get used to those voices.
Agreed.
Seconded.
I'm just really hoping that he'll have his own take on like the Italian gibberish in
Oh
this
yes.
one.
I
'Cause-
really
I
hope
think-
they don't cut that.
There'd be a lot of people who would not be happy if they took that out. That's like a staple for the series, so I kind of hope it's there.
Yeah. But so far, I'm definitely pretty confident in like Kevin voicing Mario and Luigi in this. I feel like he's probably gonna do pretty well, like especially from what we've heard with like him as Luigi. But yeah. So the elephant in the room, well, speaking of games that Kevin Afghani is working on, but like the elephant in the room with this this game and everything is who's developing it. Like it's really kind of an interesting discussion here, like since Alpha Dream shut down, and like a lot of companies that people have been speculating, or different studios that people have been speculating, might not be very likely. Like Next Level Games, they just like a couple years ago they did Battle League, and they're very likely working on Luigi's Mansion 2 HD because Grezzo is working on the new Zelda game, and that also rules out Grezzo as well. So neither Next Level nor Grezzo are working on this. So it's kind of interesting to kind of think about, like thinking about like the kind of like looking into like where some of the former Alpha Dream devs and employees went after like it shut down. I feel like there could be a little speculation there.
I feel like the thing is they've definitely been developing this for so long, so you'd think that like narrows it down a bit, but there's still so many options for who could be making this. It's hard to like wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
But I do think it could be Ilka, because that's where a lot of the employees from the remake of Bowser's Inside Story seem to went. And a lot of people seem to think that they went to Nintendo or Monolith, but only a few. I always call it Monolith. But a lot of people just say that they went there when only around 1 or 2 did. Maybe a lot more of them did, but so far some of them are still uncredited, so maybe. but most of them went to Ilka so far, which you may know for Jesus,
For
which you may
Pokemon.
really, yeah, for Pokemon the remake, which wasn't that great, but they also did make some other good games, and they do specialize in CG also, and there's a lot of good animated cutscenes in this, which
Yeah,
would be a factor.
yeah. I feel like with like Ilka, the reason why Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl turned out the way they did was probably because they were rushed. Knowing how like the Pokemon Company and Game Freak were handling things with Pokemon, it was most likely rushed. But with this most likely would have gotten some time to be developed. And I also think, like, if Ilka was working on this, I feel like there was also the possibility that this was co-developed by another studio as well. And I'm thinking that if any other company was involved with this, I feel like it might have been Intelligent Systems. Like, just due to, like, their history of working on, like a lot of Nintendo RPGs and things. And also, like, just like, I guess, Paper Mario, and also, they have co-developed other things, like WarioWare as well, so I think Intelligent Systems might possibly be another, like, company that could be, like, co-developing this, since they seem to have, like, a lot of projects that they're working on. I know they just did, like, Paper Mario with Thousand Year Door, but I feel like they are, like, working on multiple projects at once, so, yeah, that could be possible.
Yeah, I could see them definitely at least getting supervision from Intelligent Systems just because they've had so much experience. And I'll post this here. I don't know if you want to put in the video, but I made this is from the credits of Bowser's Inside Story, the remake, and where employees, what companies they went to, for their game credits.
Yeah,
it may not be completely accurate, but it gives a rough idea.
Yeah.
They really went all over the place.
That's crazy.
You know, another pretty interesting contender for who could be developing this is Bandai Namco, because they work on a lot of Nintendo stuff, like with Smash, Mario Kart, and then also
ARMS.
new Pokemon Snap, ARMS. They've done quite a lot of stuff, and I feel like that's definitely another, like, possible, like, company that could be, like, involved with this.
Definitely.
And
I know they have like a lot of employees, like over 1,000, I'm pretty sure, in Japan, which is insane. They could definitely handle it.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting. And one final thing that I wanted to talk about, since, like, this is kind of like going into the Mario RPGs as a whole, and kind of how Nintendo's been, like, strategically planning everything. I just think it's really interesting, like, the Mario RPGs are, like, finally, like, flourishing now after so long. It's just, like, not, like, one pillar of the Mario RPGs is active, or, like, some games are doing their own thing, or we're just getting 3DS remakes of something. Like, no! We're getting all of the Mario RPGs, like, in full here. It's just, like, incredible to think about. And I feel like there was definitely a lot of strategic planning that happened, and I discussed this with Super Mario T on a video right before the Thousand Year Door remake came out, but I feel like they were planning all of this around, like, 2019 to 2020, like when Alpha Dream shut down, and they saw the success of both Mario Odyssey and Kingdom Battle, which had, like, very creative locations and RPG mechanics respectively, and I feel like they kind of, like, there were a lot of things happening around that time. I feel like, and then there was also the fact that, like, Paper Mario was really, like, doing its own thing, the fact that a lot of people wanted, like, Thousand Year Door to be remastered and everything. It just seems like everything kind of lined up around that time. Also, this is more on the Paper Mario side, but, Kawade, like, stopped working on the Fire Emblem card game, and was working on, like, Thousand Year Door, which was confirmed. So it seems like a lot of things were kind of, like, shaping up around that time for Nintendo to kind of consider doing like a full push of the Mario RPGs that's happening now.
Hmm. Like Alpha Dream going bankrupt, that alone is a big wake-up call of like, how do we go from here? Like, how are we gonna, like, in Mario RPGs in general, how are we gonna handle them? And they've definitely been planning this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best case is obviously they bring Paper Mario back to its roots. Mario and Luigi keeps going, but also honestly, if they make a sequel to Mario RPG 2, and that's like it actually acts as its own branch, and we just get 3 different Mario RPG series. Mario plus Rabbids can do whatever or nothing. I kind of don't care anymore. But like, I like Kingdom Battle. But like, yeah, pretty much just those 3 series continuing would be the
Yeah.
ideal scenario.
Yeah.
I did notice on, I think, I don't know where specifically, but I know on one of Nintendo's Japanese sites, they listed Mario RPG as a franchise,
Yeah,
like, right next
I
to
know what
Paper
you're talking
Mario
about.
and Mario and Luigi,
Yes.
Yeah.
which
Oh.
is interesting.
Hopefully. I don't know. You
We'll have
more
to
Yeah.
wait
data?
and see.
Mm.
And then another thing I think it's worth mentioning that like with the Mario and Luigi series, I feel like Nintendo values it as much, if not even a little more, than Paper Mario. Because like a lot of the game, I would say probably about the same. But looking in the past, like with the like certain games, like a lot of them sold like fairly well, I would say. Like Bowser's Inside Story, that sold like 4.5 million, which is actually really good for Mario RPG standards. And like Superstar Saga in Dream Team sold over 2 million, which is actually, I would say, is fairly good for Mario RPG standards as well. So they were selling consistently well, like around the same as Paper Mario. So I feel
Yeah.
like Nintendo definitely saw the value in this series coming back and everything, because I feel like with 3DS remakes, Nintendo didn't really like consider that as a reflection of the popularity of the series, because WarioWare and Luigi's Mansion and different like I feel like a lot of those games like that were on the 3DS like very late in that lifespan weren't really considered as like a reflection of how they sold at all. Like especially Luigi's Mansion with that remake. So I feel like I feel like with Mario and Luigi, they didn't really consider the poor sales of Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey as like a reflection of like how people would feel about like the Mario and Luigi series, or would like the popularity of the Mario and Luigi series in general. So like thinking about it that way, it does make sense why Nintendo is bringing it back.
Hmm. I'm glad they didn't
Mhm.
just look at the sales of the remakes and be like, "Oh, I guess the series dead now. We don't need to make them anymore." Thankfully,
Yeah.
Nintendo is not that stupid.
Yeah. It's just so cool. It's just so amazing that Mario and Luigi is back now. It's just like the Mario RPGs are just flourishing now, and like I am just like so excited about it. Like with the future of like this part of the Mario franchise and everything.
Yes.
We're gonna be getting like, at least we're certain we're gonna be getting Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi back, and hopefully we're pretty much confirmed they're gonna be going back to their golden era. Really.
Yeah. But anyways, like this is just really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to Mario and Luigi Brothership. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to subscribe to Super Mario T and Lizardy as well, and check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye!
Put Sephiroth in the game. Stay super.